All right. What's up, everyone? This is Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lumnah Acres, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. And today is episode 30, which is pretty cool. We made it this far.
Man.
Today's topic, we're going to talk about short-term versus long-term goals, and to see if we even have long-term goals, or is this all short-term goals? Like, what's our big picture here? I often think about that quite often, and today I was putting in wood posts, and I was just popped in my brain, and I was like, maybe we should talk about that. So, but first we're going to talk about our week. So what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Is it snowing at your place, Al?
It's not snowing right now. This past weekend it was 40s, rain, and we had like 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. It was like 30 to 40 mile per hour sustained winds. And then it got down to, I think like right now it's like in the teens, but it dropped down the next day. It was like 40, and then the next day it was like 20. So it's been kind of crazy. We got a bunch of rain. Now we got ice skating rinks all over the place, it seems like. So
Yeah, I see you using that plow in front of your tractor. That's pretty neat.
yeah, that was fun. We need to have a good amount of snow and have it stay. But we want to go out and do some winter camping, but this weather hasn't cooperated, so unfortunately. We've still been
Yeah.
working away, working at the working on the barn. We got so that snow that I was plowing with the tractor, it was like super fine, and then we got a big windstorm, so the whole inside of the barn like got the fine snow got blown in, and then it warmed up, and then it all melted, and then it all froze, and in some spots I had like a half inch of ice
Oh
inside the barn.
gosh.
Like the whole barn was an ice skating rink, and then it warmed up again. So I chipped it all out, got it all out, and then I threw sand down. Like if it freezes up again, I'm gonna have sand stuck in this ice because I don't want to be slipping on my butt no more. But
Yeah.
I don't know, we're just some strange weather we've been having this winter. This week we're supposed to get down
What,
to, I think like Wednesday, Thursday night, we're supposed to get down to like below zero. That'll be like the first big cold snap.
are you putting in insulation in that barn?
Nope, no insulation. It'll be a big, big windbreak, but there won't be any insulation in it. We had it in our other barn, just in the milking room, but the milking room wasn't heated, and then the rest of the barn was all uninsulated. Yeah, I got some comments today. People mad at me, or somebody mad at me because I'm not building my barn fast enough for my animals, and they need to have a nice barn. I'm like, our animals are already in a barn. This barn we're building is for us. Like the cows, the goats, they all have a nice barn. They're just not together, and it's not convenient. It's like this barn's convenient for us. I'm not making a heated barn to put my animals in. They're not going to live in it 24/7. They're not pets, and the animals wouldn't be happy in the barn 24/7. They want to be outside. When it's snowing,
Right.
they're
Right.
outside. They're in the wind. They're outside. They can go in and out right now, and they'd rather be out. Same with the goats and the sheep there. They want to
I
go
get that.
adventuring.
I get that too, because my big old 80-foot horse barn, I get that comment every winter. Why don't you put your animals in the barn? Why don't you put the coonies in the barn? I'm like, it's dark and dungy and wet and concrete. It's not gonna be very fun for them.
Right.
I,
They're gonna feel like they're
they
in
like it
prison.
outside. I know that's the thing. Yeah, I'm gonna lock them up in the stall.
Right. Nope, ours will be in at night, and then for calf separating and stuff, we'll milk them inside, and then they're gonna go out, just like they do right now, just in a small. They'll have a bigger barn that's convenient for us to
Yeah.
keep all of our feed and all of the hay in. You know, the barn is for us for winter convenience, not for the animals.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I think a lot of people have pets and they don't have livestock, so I think they're completely different. And I don't know, my cow wouldn't want to be in the house. Would you?
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. I think our cow, if she could figure out how to get in the house, she would have came in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just mainly because she probably would assume we have treats hidden in the house. She was just a very suspicious cow.
Yep.
That's funny. Looking through your windows.
What do you have in there? You're
I
hiding
know
the
you got
good
treats in there.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't end up butchering the sheep. Couple of reasons.
Oh,
It
yeah.
it was crazy. We had crazy weather Friday, Saturday, but after talking with you, Ben, I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we should keep her for like another 2 more months, put some more meat on her bones, and then we'll have some bigger lamb chops and stuff like that. So I think that's the goal. We'll wait till like end of February, middle of March, and then we'll butcher her and make some delicious meat out of her.
There you go.
It's still going to be cold, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. February, March is still going to be cold. Well, the weather's still going to be good for us to do it. So. But yeah, we had like 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It was crazy on Saturday. I was supposed to stop around 11. I think it went to like 1. And then it was still like 30-mile-per-hour winds, but I couldn't even work in the barn putting up siding. I was putting tin on the inside, and I couldn't do it until the wind died down because it was just so windy even inside the barn. I was like, yeah, I'm not carrying a 10-foot long sheet of tin around. Next thing I'll know, I'll be doing like a cartwheel or something, and I wouldn't.
Where'd Al go? Oh, he flew away.
You guys get any of that wind or anything?
We didn't really have any wind Saturday. We just had rain. Or not
Just
Saturday.
rain.
That was Friday. Friday we had rain because I was out in
Okay.
it butchering a pig.
Yep.
But
That's
Right.
You every time you butcher, there's rain.
yeah, every single time. We're 3 for 3 now.
Was the cow in the rain?
No, the cow was just really
No.
cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we know when Ben's butchering pigs, it's going to be rainy on the East Coast.
It has to have a class, though.
Yeah, it has to be a class. If nobody shows up,
Okay.
it's going to be beautiful weather.
There you go. That's funny. Trying to build gates that pocket gates. So in the barn, I want to have sliding barn doors, so we can have like a big opening for like to get in and out of the barn. But in those areas, I also want to have gates that we can close. So I'm making like 2 walls so you can slide them in and out. So that way we can, if an animal gets out and we open one of the big barn doors, we're not having like a cow coming charging at us or something. So that's kind of been a fun one to figure out because gates are made to swing, and I don't know, we've just had to figure out how to weld the wheels on them and without being like too elaborate. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it and what kind of hardware we need. It's been pretty custom, but it's fun. I think it'll be exciting and work well for us when we're all said and done.
I'm surprised that you can't buy I don't know if you can or not. Like buy a wheel kit for something like that. But
All the wheel kits that I've seen are ones going like to swing a gate. So we want to be able to go like in and out like a pocket door. So we ended up buying caster wheels from Harbor Freight, and we welded them on the bottom.
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's a great idea. It's like you would think somebody would have came up with like some kind of way to do something like that on those gates because it's just like a livestock gate.
Yeah, just livestock gates. They don't weigh anything. They're pretty light. But I don't know. I don't like swinging things when you're trying to maximize as much space. 'Cause if you got a door that swings, you got to take into account like whatever 3 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet of room that it takes up, so you can't stack anything there. And I always try to do pocket doors. It seems like, or pocket gates now. I guess would be my new thing.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like that. I thought that looked really cool. It's a great
Yeah.
use of space, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to like stack hay up against a wall and not have to worry about having a gate in the swinging in the way or anything. So
I wonder if you could use the same gate for like an outdoor fence. I guess it has to be kind of flat land maybe, but
right.
because I need to put gates. I like the idea of a sliding gate better than a gate that swings out.
Right. Yeah, especially if you're trying to go in with an animal, it'd be easier just to slide it with your hand instead of having to go and walk and then turn the animal around and get it to swing shut again.
Yeah, I might check that out.
You have to invent something and then you can make a kit and sell it.
I built a lot of sliding gates back when I was doing wrought iron work a million years
Right.
ago. Like it used to be you could buy, it's all for welding wrought iron gates, but it's like a box that's got the wheel mounted inside of it, so it only sticks out like, an inch below the box. and then the wheel is a V, and so all you attach to the ground is a piece of angle iron, pointed up,
Okay.
and then you put two of those wheels on your gate, and then it stays tracked on that piece of angle iron. Did quite a few of those things. They were fun, but you were telling me about the having to weld stuff on there, and it popped into my head. It was like, yeah, I used to make gates like that, but I mean, they weren't livestock gates. They were like super fancy, ridiculous, wrought iron gates.
Driveway
Driveway,
gates.
RV parking gates.
Okay, so it'd be like you'd put the angle iron or the V piece down on like a concrete driveway or something that you'd attach that to.
Yeah, but usually what it would be is I'd go in and set the angle iron to where the triangle is up, and then we'd go in and usually we'd drill a couple holes in the driveway, redhead a concrete anchor, just a piece of flat steel to the concrete, and then you lay the angle iron on that, and then you can weld that angle iron to those anchored in pieces, and now you have your track.
So I got a question for you, Ben, then, because you've done quite a bit of welding, making sliding barn doors. I was thinking about making the frame out of angle iron, so that way they wouldn't warp, and then line it with like pine boards on the inside. What thickness of angle iron, and then would I be better off taking like some rectangle tubing and welding it on top and around the sides to strengthen it up?
Actually, remind me after we're done, and I'll show you some of the gates that I used to make, because basically they were just a tube steel frame, and then they've got angle iron welded to the inside of the frame, and then I just used fence boards. Sometimes tongue and groove boards if someone wanted something heavier duty, but generally it was just fence boards. And then you just get self-tapping screws and use those screws, go through the wood, and then drill into the angle iron. So the angle iron was only like, less than an 1/8 inch thick, pretty light stuff.
Okay.
But
so it was the tubing that kind of was the structure.
Yeah, the tubing was the structure.
Yeah, that's what I haven't built the doors for the barn yet, because I've been kind of like processing it through my head. I'm like, okay, if I build them all out of wood, it's going to be heavy, and they're still probably going to warp because each door is going to be 6 feet by like 10 feet tall, and there's going to be four of them.
Big door.
So I'm like, how can I do this that's going to keep it straight? So I was thinking about the angle iron and then some tubing around it.
I have to build those giant doors. I've been needing to build those doors for the horse stall. I think we talked about it, Ben, too. I think they're 12-foot high doors.
Yeah, those are massive doors on that barn.
Yeah, King Kong doors.
Yeah, that's a huge undertaking, building a door that big. Did you ever decide if you're doing like sliding barn doors, or are you going to do hinged?
I think I'm leaning towards the one side, not the main side like where we hoist the animals, but the other side, making that into a sliding door. But it's still end up going to be like at least 10-foot, maybe 10-foot sliding door. I'm leaning towards that, but I don't know yet.
That's a huge door.
Yeah.
How wide is the opening?
It's pretty wide. I would say, I don't know, I think 12 feet, 12, 14 feet maybe.
Yeah, so I got a 12 foot. So that's why I figure if I do four 6 feet doors, 2 on each side, have them slide in each direction. I've made them before. I don't remember. At our first house we had horses, and it was a lean-to shed, but it was a horse barn. I don't remember the dimensions of that. It was at least 8 feet, if not maybe 10 feet tall in the front. And I'm going to say the doors were probably 8 feet by 8 feet, if not 8 by 10. And I went over to the lumber yard, bought rough sawn lumber, and it was hemlock that was green, soaking wet, built the doors. There were sliding doors, and then I tried to stand them up and hang them up. I did it. Can't remember how I did it, but that was heavy. I don't know if you guys have ever messed with like wet rough sawn hemlock, but it's pretty wet.
Wow.
No, can't say I've done that.
That was the first time I did, and I regretted it. But they say hemlock is what you should use to build barns, or at least barn floors, because if it stays wet, it won't rot. So like on an animal floor, if it, they're always urinating on it, it stays pretty wet. So it won't. It's supposed to last like the longest for the wood. So I don't want
I
to
don't even
build
know if I
doors
could.
that heavy again.
I don't even know if I've ever seen hemlock.
No, it's kind of got like a greenish yellow tinge to it. It's different. They use it.
Like
They used
poplar?
to use it a lot up here for building barns back in the old days. So I would say that's been our week is just more barn projects and trying to. I think that's always the fun part. It's like how do you do that and make good videos and process and figure out exactly how you want to do everything and take time to make sure you do it right.
Yep.
That's kind of some of the things we've been waiting on. We haven't been finished up. It's like, okay, I want to do this, but how do I make this work? I want, I don't know. You're just trying to think and process, but make good content at the same time can be a little tricky, it seems like. I know you guys know how that is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like people are thinking I think this is boring.
Mhm.
It's like watching paint dry sometimes.
Right. Yep.
But maybe it's not. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, people are watching. That's what's hard about it. So what's up, Ben? How'd your workshops go?
The class went perfect. Like I couldn't ask for a better class. It did rain on us again, like I was saying, but I mean, that was it is to be expected. No, you know what? This was probably the best class. We actually were overbooked. We had extra people this go around, and so it was a pretty full house. But I will say this was the most gung ho out of all three of the classes we did this winter. Everybody in this class wanted to get dirty. They wanted to get their hands in there. It was a very lively bunch. It was awesome. Like we did everything so fast that like we were very efficient. That's how to say it. We were very efficient. We finished really early on day one. I think we were probably done by 2 or 3 o'clock with both pigs, which was pretty good. And so we just kind of sat around and hung out until it was dinner time. Gave us all a chance to dry out. We went up in the barn and got out of the rain and just sat there in front of the space heaters and warmed up. And then day two, that's the cutting up day, going from cooler to freezer. And that went really good. We were like finishing up grinding everything. We grind very last after everything. We were finishing up grinding as Meg came down with all of the stuff for dinner. And so it was like, usually our classes, the way they've gone is, we're done at 6, but then, me and Meg and whoever wants to stay and help, will finish grinding and packaging and getting everything in the freezer. But like we were done by 6, we had dinner, people helped carry stuff to the freezers and left. So yeah, it was really cool. Really good group of people. On one hand, it's bittersweet. Like I'm just like totally jazzed. I want to do another class. It's like, let's do this again. And at the same time, it's like, sweet, we don't have to do this again until, next fall. So yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. Like by the last class, I feel like I was getting it down. It's like, all right, like I've got a pretty good program now. I know how I'm going to do stuff. I know how I'm going to explain stuff, and now it's over. So, I hope it's not a use it or lose it thing. We'll find out by, next October, November, whenever we start doing this again. I'll start up and that first class will just be awkward and terrible. And by the last class, I should be back on it. So we'll see. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Did you ever fix your hoist?
That's a sore subject with me. I'd rather not talk about it now.
Well, how'd you hoist up the pig? How'd you do that?
Oh, I used the trusty tractor. Yeah,
Okay.
I went out there Thursday, just checking everything, checking the water, making sure the water was, filled up. Plugged in the crane, click, nothing happened. Actually, I take that back. I got it to move about a foot, and then I put some weight on it, and it just stopped. And never worked again. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a bummer. It's like, I threw the box away. I should have known. Like, it was the only one on the shelf, and the box was open. It was like, I should have known. But, they get you with that restock fee anyways. So even if I'd taken it in, they would have charged me like $75 just to bring it back. Yeah, good old tractor.
Things paying for itself.
We'll only have like, I don't know, 20 or 30 more pigs to go, and that tractor will pay for itself. That's all right.
That's good.
Those pigs were actually probably some of the smallest out of all of the ones we've done this winter, because I leave the smallest till the end. That way they have a little bit longer to fatten up. One of them, the big pig, the feeder pig, was like 260, something like that, 260 something. And then the small pig was only 140 or something like that. So tractor had no problem picking those things up. I tell you, a lot better than when we were trying to pick up that cow. And I'm like, hey, Jason, climb on the back.
Yeah. Doing wheelies.
Yeah. Sketchy. Not the sketchiest thing I've ever done, but that was pretty sketch.
That's good, man. You got those classes out of the way, and you're ready to move on to the next project, I guess, huh?
Yeah. We were adding it up. We put somewhere around, it's like 1,100 pounds of pork in the freezer this year. So a lot more.
Everything fit in the freezer?
Barely. I mean, barely. We like the one out in the shed, we did have to set a couple like bags of feed on to keep the lid closed. But yeah, barely fit. Like it was close. Actually, there was stuff that did not fit that we left out, that we, like the bacon. There's a whole bunch of bacon, a couple copas, the prosciutto. We just put that stuff on cure, and that stuff gets to live in the fridge while it's curing, which that kind of saved us, because there was no room in the freezers.
Have you figured out how much meat you've butchered for the whole year with like chicken and lamb and everything you've done total?
We kind of talked about that a little bit, but I don't think we have a total for how many pounds of meat, period, we've put in the freezer. But I mean, something like 500 or 600 pounds of chicken. And then we put in 600 something of beef. So yeah, I'll get those numbers. I'll let you know. That's
then you did the lambs this year, right? The lambs were this year.
Yep. Yeah. See, it's all that. We'll have to sit down, and I'm sure Meg has a spreadsheet already with all that information. So I'll ask her later.
That'd be interesting. What was the furthest somebody has traveled? Did you guys have anybody that traveled some distance for the classes? Yep,
Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
Yep, they flew all the way across the country to come to this class. I'd say that's the farthest.
That's cool.
We've had Missouri. There was a big group. It was a dad and his like 3 sons and his future, it's like grandson-in-law or something like that. These guys are all older than me. They were like from Iowa and Minnesota, and they flew down here. Wow. So yeah, they were enjoying how warm it was down here.
Did anybody ask to have any slices of prosciutto?
No, we did talk about it. That's one of those things. Any? Like, I would have, if someone had asked for a taste, I would have pulled out the one we've been cutting on. I would have shared, but I think everybody was being too polite.
That's funny.
Yeah, we did actually pull the prosciuttos out because I was explaining, I'm cutting this leg because we're going to turn it into a prosciutto, and, kind of explaining how it goes down. And it's like, well, here's this one that's, a year old, and this one's 2 years old, and yada, yada. And so we did talk about them, but yeah, it probably would have been nice to be carving off one, be like, and this is why we do it. Kind of drive that point home.
Are you turning any legs from a regular feeder pig into a prosciutto? Or are you doing all of them from the guinea hogs?
No, actually, we didn't do any guinea hog prosciuttos this year. We're just
Okay.
doing the feeder pigs.
Yep.
We've actually got one. It was the first class we did. We did a prosciutto out of the big feeder pig, and it is now hanging in our kitchen. And then me and Meg just got the prosciutto we made this weekend on salt today. So it's going to spend its period of time in the fridge while it's curing and losing its moisture, and then after that we'll hang it up.
Have you cut into your prosciutto yet there, Jason? Because yours has been 2 years, right?
Oh yeah, no, we're way overdue. No, we have not. I don't know why. I just haven't done it yet. I need it. I know. We always talk about it. I was like, we need to cut into that. We need to cut into that because it's
You gotta
like
have your
staring
dad
right at
back
me.
over.
No, I know. I think, yeah,
He'll make you
yeah,
cut into it.
yeah, he will. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when. We keep on saying it. So any day now, we're gonna cut into it. But
You got that new deli slicer. It'll cut it up real nice.
Right.
yeah, we did make bacon this week. So
Do you have like a Traeger grill? I mean, is that what you smoked it on, or?
yeah, we put it in there for a little bit in the Traeger. Yeah,
Right.
I love the Traeger. Like we haven't had any problems with that. We had it for maybe a year now, and every time you just put something in there and like kind of set it and forget it pretty much, and it always comes out good.
Don't know who it is. I just saw on Instagram. I don't know if it was them or I forget the brand that I have, but one of them just came out with a cabinet one. And it holds a lot more. It'll hold a lot more, like stacked on top of each other for if you want to do like bacon slabs or trays of stuff. I think it will hold like 2 or 3 times as much as a regular 36-inch grill.
Mm.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
That's actually, if I was going to get another pellet smoker, that's what I would get, is probably a Traeger. My mom and dad had a Traeger, and I had my big ugly smoker that I built, and I could make some darn good barbecue. And then my dad started smoking on that Traeger, and he can make barbecue just as good as mine. So it was like, well, then I guess they've improved the technology enough, because we'd go over there for Thanksgiving and my dad would smoke a turkey and I'd start eating. It's like, this tastes as good as what I can make. And all he did was walk out there and push a button and walk away.
Yeah,
The pellets are very convenient
yeah,
for sure. It's nice, and you can get so many. I get the combination blend. It's like, I don't know,
yeah.
maple, hickory, apple, or you can get whatever you want. But
I keep thinking about it. Every time I look at my little coonies, I'm like, I want to put one on the Traeger, just to do it.
right,
See if I could do it on there.
my friend has one that's charcoal. That's like an auto feed charcoal one. It's huge, and it's like a gravity fed charcoal one. I mean, it's a smoker and it makes some delicious meat, but I've never seen one of those before.
Jason, how about your week?
So for me this week, let's see. Let me think about it. So I got a good stopping point for our high tunnel, and like you, Al, I get the comment saying, Jason, you spent way too long. You're taking way forever long on this high tunnel. When are you going to ever be finished? And I'm like, wait, I'm not in a hurry.
You finished it up before your deadline,
Yeah, I mean, I'm ahead of schedule here because
right?
I'm at a point now where the next step is plastic, and so I want to wait till it gets a little warmer, and so hopefully there'll be the plastic. I think will look nicer if we could stretch it as much as we can when it's more, when it's kind of warm out,
Yep.
maybe in the 70s or something. So I don't know. It might be another month before I do that, but that's the next step, and that's where we're at. So I'm glad I'm there. And then now I've been working on my fencing like all day today, last couple days. Another part of the fencing, and I think the part that we're starting on now, I think it's going to end up being like a wood fence. Maybe not right away, but eventually add some wood to it. I think just for aesthetic purposes.
Yep.
Because it's like kind of like a fence that you see. We always walking in and out of, and it's there, and every time I look out my window, that's the first thing I see. And so I figured maybe a wood fence would look nice, but I still got to add poles and figure out where I got to put the gates and stuff like that. And then I mentioned on the last podcast that I went to Rural King by us, was selling some rolls of fencing for $130 cheaper than Tractor Supply. But of course they didn't have it in stock, and then it was like another $300 to ship. And so I went to Tractor Supply to see if they would price match. And they did. They would. Yes. Wow. Which I tried to price match something before at Tractor Supply, the same Tractor Supply last year, and they told me no, we can't do it. Not with Rural King. They don't want to do it. So that discouraged me because I thought about it doing it again. I was like, but they already told me no. So I went and asked again, and for whatever reason, maybe I got them on a good day, but
persistence.
They said, yeah. No, I know. Even he was like, man, I think I'm gonna go get some of those fencing. He's like, wow, that's a big, like $130 cheaper. Like, that's crazy. So, I'm super thankful for that because that's how much I saved. And I bought a couple bought a couple.
You'd be foolish not to.
Yeah, I almost bought like more, but I was like, I need to calm down.
Right. Calculating like how many rolls do I need to finish?
Yeah, because I'm afraid I'm going to go there again, and they're like, "Nah, we can't do that." Right. So yeah, which is cool. Yeah, so they price matched it, which is awesome. So yeah, I have to get more material and all that stuff, but hopefully I could get that done now that I don't have the high tunnel to do. What else? We had that huge rain on that one day. I forget which day it was. It might have been Friday, I guess.
Well, it rained pretty good. What was that, Tuesday?
Oh, maybe it was Tuesday. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was during the week. That was like when your pigs got to go swimming, right?
Yeah, it was right after that. Yep, it was right after my dream. Right. So my dream was about to come true.
That's right.
Because we had some good flooded waters going through our property, and over by our barn just floods really bad. They build this horse barn on the most, like lowest part of the property. Every time it rains, all the water comes rushing down towards that barn. I was like, I don't know why they built this barn right here.
Right.
So every time it rains like that, it always have issues with flooding. And so, I started like digging out a trench. It's like, I probably don't have to do this now, but sometimes you just feel like digging a trench. Sometimes I feel like digging a hole. I think probably because I was editing a video and I was like, I just got to go outside and like do some manual labor. So I've been doing a lot of research on French drains lately. Have you guys put in a French drain?
Yep. Nope. Pain in the butt, but they're pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I guess the more time consuming is digging the trench. So figuring that out, and gutters. I got to put gutters on this barn. I think I always say it, but I really got to do that. I think just the gutters.
How long is the barn?
It's about 80 feet.
Okay, that's a good size building.
I would love to do just one gutter piece, like have somebody make it. Yep. So it's just one piece. I figured that would probably be easier to install rather than putting a bunch of pieces together, and it would probably look nicer. But of course, it's more expensive.
Right.
That's my thought. Because I priced them out before, I think it was last year or when we first moved in, this gutter, they will make it on site. And just to make it, that was back then. I don't know what it is now, the prices, but it was $500 for one gutter, for one 80-foot long gutter. So I don't know what it is now. I want to call them back and ask them what the prices are like now. Right. Maybe it's the same. But considering a metal, what are they, 10 feet long at Lowe's is, I don't know what they are, $20?
Yep.
I'm kind of like, sometimes I will get like a I'm kind of like a cat, with shiny objects. I'm like doing the fencing. I'm like, I gotta get this fence done, right? And all of a sudden, something happens. I'm like, oh, what is that? And I'm like, oh, there's like a shiny object over there. I'm gonna go tinker with that for a whole 2 days.
Rain gutters.
Then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm doing fencing. Wait a minute. Concentrate.
Greenhouse.
Yeah, wait. I got a greenhouse over here too. Yeah.
What's
Dang
the
it.
deadline for the fence? Have you given yourself a deadline yet for that project?
Oh, for both greenhouse and the fence is March 11th.
Okay, so now you just have to concentrate on the fence till March 11th.
Yeah.
No more digging trenches. It's time to commit to the fence.
I know. Now I have like a trench in front of my barn, and I'm like, I can't leave it like that.
Right, you're gonna break an ankle.
I know. I was like, I can't just leave it like that because next thing I know, grass is gonna grow, and then I'm like, man, we're gonna run out of time here.
Fall in, get the lawnmower stuck.
I mean, I guess we could just go into it because that's pretty much my week. Or besides that bacon that we made bacon for the first time, and that turned out really well.
What
I know
kind?
Lorraine's been talking with Meg, and so we used a combination of what she does, and then we had another book. Like I think we used kind of what Meg does, and then like 2 other books that we kind of like combined and made one big, like used little bits of everything of everywhere, and then kind of made it, and it turned out great. Like first time doing it, and it was awesome.
Did you hot smoke it or cold smoke it?
We hot smoked it. Well, we did it in the Traeger, and we had it at the lowest setting, which was I think 145.
Okay.
And it was only in there for, I think it was only in there for like 30 minutes, just to get a smoky flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And then we stuck it in the oven for like, I think it was like 8 hours, and then after that we sliced it, and then we cooked it like bacon after that.
Okay. I'll have to bring you some cold smoked bacon, and since you used kind of a similar recipe, and you can try some cold smoked bacon and see what you think. I like both of them. Like hot smoke, cold smoke, they're both delicious. I mean, you can't hold a candle to homemade bacon. Like store-bought stuff is, yeah, that's old news.
Yeah. I know.
But cold smoke, it tastes different. Like it tastes a lot different. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that video post, and I was like, it's about time. I got to hear how it went.
I know. And it was those 3 feeder pigs that we butchered last spring. So we're just getting to the bacon. The bacon's almost, that's been sitting in the freezer pretty much all year long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, usually people eat the bacon first.
Right.
But I guess we just kind of got to it. So, but now we're trying to go through it. We had it was pieces like, I'm just showing on the screen, but like kind of like that. I think we cut the pork belly in half. So we had like 6 of them. Yeah. So
Did you do all of it?
No, we're actually, Lorraine, she is curing or seasoning one right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna start going through them and start just making them and then just freezing them. So that way they're already there. We just gotta cook them. But yeah, man, like it's like growing a homemade tomato. Like it's like with anything that we grow.
Yep. You can't go back.
Once you have I know.
Nope.
It cannot buy store-bought bacon again. It's crazy.
Yeah, because once you run out, it's like, oh man, I gotta wait till next time we butcher a pig to have bacon again. Like it's horrible. You can't buy it.
I know. Yeah, I can't go buy a chicken at the store, like all that. Like it's just so crazy. You just fall into this rabbit hole of making, raising, growing, and you just cannot go back. It's just so crazy.
Gina rendered some lard from our pigs last week, and then she fried up some chicken tenders in lard. Breaded. That was delicious. And we had some leftover. We made some chicken sandwiches with them and stuff, and yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
And we've been about that beef tallow for a week now, And
right?
it makes some good potatoes.
So I'm sure I couldn't just imagine some French fries fried up
Haven't
in
done
that.
French fries yet.
You haven't?
No, we've been busy. We kind of had people to entertain this weekend, but
Right.
yeah, I'm sure French fries will be soon. Actually, we were out of potatoes. We just got our potatoes this past week, so our potato situation's resolved. We uh we actually grew enough potatoes. What we grew lasted until January. So, yeah, that was kind of cool. It's like, man,
Yeah.
we ate a long time on what we grew this year. That was pretty cool. Technically, we still have some, but it's all the little, teeny tiny things that you can't make French fries out of. So
Yeah.
we finally broke down and bought some russets again.
Yeah. So let's talk about today's topic. So what is short term goals compared to long term goals? Like, what would you think short term goals is?
Like a classification, basically, like what we classify as short term and long term.
Like, short term is growing a garden. Is that short term?
I guess short term would be, the short term goals are we're going to grow a garden this year, and the long term goals are we're going to install a permaculture orchard that takes care of itself that just gets better over time. Like that's the difference between
Yeah.
short term and long term. Now, when it comes to like other stuff, I feel like me personally, I have a very hard time with long time goals. Um, like I said, when you brought that up, and I was like, yeah, I feel like day to day, I'm just treading water, trying to get things done, just putting out the biggest fire first. Um, there's a lot of stuff. I guess I forget the bigger picture. And ultimately, like the bigger picture is, I don't know. Some people might not understand where I'm going with this, but like the bigger picture is my family. The bigger picture is raising my boys and, now my daughter. The bigger picture is, being there for them and stuff like that. That's my bigger picture. Um, Bigger picture when it comes to the homestead. See, I got sidetracked. Bigger picture versus long-term goals. See, I'm overthinking it. Long-term goals when it comes to the homestead is I would actually like to make this place run to where I don't have to micromanage absolutely everything. Uh, Now, as far as being able to do that, I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm stuck in the short-term goals of making sure chores don't take me all day, every day.
A little bit more efficient. Make
Yep.
everything more systems in place where you don't have to be there all the time, type of thing. I'm with you.
I think
I
now that
agree.
we've been here, almost this spring will be 5 years, I think. And it's finally just now that we're like, okay, let's do this, and A, B, and C. Like I'm tired of dragging hoses everywhere. So probably this year there are going to be some water lines put in the ground with hydrants everywhere, just so we don't have to drag hoses all across the property.
Yeah.
There's stuff like, we would like a bigger pantry and I don't want to have to keep it in the barn or the shed or something like that. So we're going to add a pantry. We're going to add a bedroom while we're at it too. Just stuff like that. I guess our short-term goals have changed to more align with our long-term goals, which are, living here and doing the thing.
Yeah. When we first started doing this lifestyle, it's coming, starting 8 years of doing this. It was always like just surviving. That's my goal.
Yep.
Just be able to pay the bills, right? Like that's it. Let's get some meat chickens. Of course, those are goals too. Like, let's raise our first batch of meat chickens. Let's raise some egg layers. Let's get a garden. And then after you do those goals, it's like, okay, what next? It's like you have to like reevaluate or come up with new goals. And that's always hard for me to do because I always feel like there's something else. Like there's going to be like, there's something else out there for us. I don't know what that is. It's like I don't know. Like, is
I
it
don't
like,
know what's
'cause I always felt
next.
like it was like such an emotional and hard thing to leave everything that we knew, in California out here and then after you do it, it's like, is that it? Like, not like is that it? But like, not that I'm not, incredibly thankful for everything, but like, but yeah, is this it? Like we made it? Like we left and we're doing the things that we wanted to do, and is that it? Like,
Right.
or is there something else? I always felt like there's something else out there that we're maybe supposed to be doing, or that's going to come up that I need to be ready for. I mean, I don't know what that is. I always had that feeling in my mind, like a gut feeling. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially what you said earlier of just trying to survive. For a long time, when we first got here, that's exactly what I would describe it as. Just, we're scrambling to do the YouTube videos to, pay for everything, but then we're scrambling to get into a house before a baby shows up, all of that stuff, as well as, the animals. Like, we're scrambling to raise enough animals to where we can do the thing and, get to the point where we can actually say, hey, we raised all of our meat this year, that kind of thing. I absolutely, like, the first 4 years of being here, I would say it has been 100% survival.
Yeah.
Now, I think what's funny is there's going to be people out there that are like, yeah, but you have a homestead and you have all this stuff, and you're doing all this stuff, must be nice. Right? We all get that, must be nice attitude. It's like, well, yeah, but you guys don't see how scary it is to quit everything leave the place just for the chance to live like this.
I feel it's so, like, I don't want to take it for granted, like it's so precious. Like it's so, I feel like something could happen and everything, it can be done. Like it would be over. Like, we have to sell our land or like something could happen. And it's, everything's so delicate, I feel. And then that's it. That's the end of it. But, so I understand. But having like a long-term goal, I think for me would be, like you said, Ben, like trying to make an efficient homestead where I don't have to be like somebody random can come on our place and kind of know how to do things already, or it's not so, it's more organized, I guess. And I mean, I guess that's why I'm doing fencing. That's long-term goal of having fencing, water, and all those things in place. And also to leave something. I think this changed for me. At first, I never thought about this. I always thought about, we're just surviving. We're just want to see if we like doing this stuff. But like having something for our daughter that she could have if she wants it.
Yeah.
There's not guarantee that she's going to want it, but at least have a place where if she wanted to build a house or she wanted to, make a business out of our place somehow. I don't know.
Do you guys think about that? I know what goes across my mind lately is okay, how can we build something so if our kids want to build a business off of it or grow off of it, does that stuff go through your mind too, Ben?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I watch all the boys, they've taken over my barn, and I mean, they're starting to like, okay, so I make knives. I would like to get to the point where I could make enough knives to start selling them again. But these past couple classes, I've made, 4 knives. And that was all I had time for. I made 4 knives. The last class, I sold them all. This class, I sold half of them. Well, my son, Jack, he makes knives too. And he's gotten really good at it. Well, it was the end of day 1, and we're all in there after dinner and talking and carrying on. And he breaks out his knives, and he sold one of them. And, he lit up. He was like, oh my gosh. But right then, it's like, I can see the spark of realization. It's like, oh, I can make something and sell it. And so, yeah, I absolutely have those same thoughts. It's like, I would gladly pass the torch and hand off all of my equipment if it meant somebody's going to take it and run with it. I think that's like every proud papa dream right there is, can I hand off, the stuff that I've collected or built, can I hand this off to my children and will they do something with it? I think I'm nearing that point. Like I might be able to hand the keys over, that kind of situation. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
What about you? Do you have any long-term goals or?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with like the whole survival thing at first. Our first homestead were that way, and then with the land when we bought it, I was like, I mean, I don't. My daughter didn't like when I said it, but like the first thing I wanted to get like a well, and I wanted to get some things established because like, okay, we just bought this big piece of property. If something happens to me, it's raw land. It's kind of hard just to get a loan on raw land. So it's like I want to have like a well. I want to have it established. So if God forbid I die, I'm not burdening my family with something that they can't offload. So that way, I guess that was kind of like survival was like thinking like, okay, how can I get this set up so it's not a burden right away? Like if I had this dream and then it turned into somebody's nightmare, like I don't want to leave that on somebody. So then I don't know. I guess that's kind of how I think. Like worst case scenario, like when we jumped in doing the homesteading stuff at the beginning, it's like, or maybe not even that. Like when out of high school, I left my family, and I was like, okay, like this is the time to do it. Like I have a truck payment. Worst case scenario, I can't make my truck payment. I'm going to ruin my credit. I'm 18. What do I care? However, I was 20. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I always go into like worst case scenario mode. Like if this happens and I fall flat on my face, like face it right now, like what's going to happen? And then just kind of like conquer that fear, I guess. And then just be like, okay, so how do I divert from if that crisis happening? So I don't know. I just kind of go into things that way, and I went that way with the land. So we just kind of got some like water lines going, got the well, and we started doing the house right away. And now we're just kind of trying to establish. I guess like we put trails in perimeter. We cleaned up the old logging trails, like the perimeter trails. That way we can have access to it, and just I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what we can do with it. But like you said, God forbid something happens and you lose your property, or if you need to sell it, like how can you make it so it is saleable for somebody else? Because not everybody's going to have the same visions that we do. And you don't want to be stuck with something if you need to sell it. So I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I kind of feel better about that part now. So now it's like, okay, how do we build this to a farm that we want? And then also, okay, is there something our daughter would want to do within the realm, or but you don't want to force their hand to do anything either. So yeah, I think it's kind of it's a tricky scope. And then it's kind of like, okay, will the food movement's doing good, but will regulations ever change for food and for selling stuff? And then, so I think that's kind of hard too, is like, where do you go with that whole thing? Like how much money do you want to invest, or it's expensive right now if you want to get big into it. Like a lot of people are doing online sales of meat, but I mean, you got to find somebody to butcher all your meat. And then I'm going to have to say, I don't know if you got to find a distributor and get dry ice, or if you got to make your own dry ice, because you got to pack and ship the stuff. So I would think that's kind of got to be a big expense, having a warehouse to do all that and everything out of. So I don't know. I think the long-term goals, I try to have visions and then do it little by little. And then it's like, if you think too much about it, it's like, man, that's expensive. How am I going to do all that? But you don't want to limit yourself at the same time, so I don't know. Do you guys ever think like the big picture? But then it's kind of like, like how does that happen? But
every day.
But at the same time, you don't want to squash that dream. Like we wouldn't be where we are right now, all of us, if we squashed it. So it's kind of like, what's the juggling balance of that, of having a big vision, working to get there, but not being stupid at the same time too quickly.
Yeah. That's when you start like mowing your lawn. that's when you just start like, how do you, do other things around.
Right. Well, that's still getting you to your long-term goal, right? Because your YouTube stuff is part of your business. So if you're making videos, I guess that's still going to your long-term goal.
I think what's interesting is kind of this conversation we're having right now. Me and Meg have had quite a few times, and we've talked about, it's like, hey, where has getting dive bombed by a stink bug? Sorry guys. Squirrel. Yeah, so this yeah, good example of squirreling out. Where has the time gone? How have we been here 5 years and we haven't accomplished anything that we said we wanted to do? I want to add on to the barn. I want to build this. I want to build that. And we haven't done any of it. Well, it's not like I've been sitting on my couch eating, Cheetos. Like, I'm busy every day. I have stuff to do. I have a grocery list of things that need to get done. And it's like, looking at it, how have we not done the things we've done? We still have these goals, we still have these plans, but why aren't they getting done? Well, it's just for me, it's a matter of what has occupied my time. Well, the thing that has occupied my time is honestly making videos. I've been spending so much time over the past couple of years filming stuff that I've gotten caught up filming other stuff. Little projects. I've worked on the garden. I've kind of gotten our food situation prioritized to where I can have the gardens. I can have the animals. That's what I've prioritized. And the sad thing is the building projects have taken a back seat. Well, this past year, the gardens were awesome and I didn't hardly have to deal with them because of how I've put everything in place. Have pretty much taken care of themselves. But what has happened is since there wasn't so much attention needed, over here, it kind of let me see how stagnant I had become over here. And, now it's to the point, it's like, you know what? I'm not having another year where I don't tackle any of my building projects. Like it's got to happen now. So I don't know. I don't know if that, kind of relates to what we're talking about, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I think you kind of have to prioritize what you can and can't do in a year, though. What you can and can't, or what you can and can't do. You can only do so much in 1 year. It's like our gardens. Hopefully, this year will be the year of the garden. But our garden, we have raised beds right now, but we don't have huge gardens. That's kind of been something that we kind of put off. But we need to get into that, and we want to get like blueberries in an orchard and stuff. At the same time, it's like, I would have loved to have done that the first year because it's a slow process, but we also want to make sure it's where we want to put it. So I don't know. I think it's a give and take. You can only do so much in a year, and yeah, if you look back at it that way, like, oh, I didn't do this, but yeah, you have your gardens, you have this, and then now you can jump on building, doing your DIY stuff. Because I guess if you were trying to do it all at once, how much would you accomplish? I guess it's like
spinning my tires,
right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of good at that sometimes. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll just be like, nope, like I'll put this project completely off, but I have to completely stop thinking about it. Otherwise it's gonna drive me bonkers and I'll have to do something. So it's like, no, I think it kind of makes Gina upset sometimes because she'll be like, oh, you're not, whatever. But I'm like, if I don't like just completely disconnect from it, like I still know I got to do it, but just not think about it for however long to my next project, like I'll be getting anxious because it's sitting over there and I haven't done it yet. So I guess for my personality, I just kind of have to like disconnect and be like, nope, I'm not focusing on that. I got to focus all of my attention right here. I don't know if you guys find that works for you or not, but that's kind of what I had to do. I guess one of the biggest things for me, when we at the other homestead, we had a bunch of land cleared, and we had it cleared, and I tried putting it into pasture, and that summer we got rains, and every time I put seed down, it would just get washed out, and we'd have ruts, and I'd reseed it, and it happened like 3 or 4 times, and then finally I just had to walk away. And then I went back. I mean, I still used what I could for meat birds and stuff, but a lot of it I was just like, nope. But then I went back, like, it probably took I was always over there, but it took 2 years, and the natural grasses started growing and filling everything in. It was like, and now it's a awesome pasture. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of taught me a lesson, like, hey, sometimes things takes time, which I'm not good at doing, but sometimes it takes time and you just have to wait. Like when you're trying to build a homestead, like it's a slow process. There's always a lot to do, but what you do still takes time for the roots to establish, I guess. I think it'll be an ongoing discussion.
Yeah, that's for
Always
sure.
evolving. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys later.